welcome back to Ralph's Sort of True Stories. Today we're going to be talking about seniors. Seniors, that's old folks, you know? Yeah, real old. You can see I got my white hair and everything. Okay, welcome. Now, the first story we're going to do is about some ailments. One of the ailments that seniors have is hard of hearing. I don't know if you can see this, but I got my little hearing aid right here, right there. Got one on the other side too. Anyway, this fella, Earl, is at the doctor and he says, you know, I think my wife Mildred is hard of hearing, but she just won't admit it. I don't know what I should do about that. You know, could you talk to her? And the doctor said, well, Earl, I think what you should do is when you go in the house, right inside the front door, ask her a question. And if she doesn't answer, go up about 10 feet and ask her another question. And if she still doesn't answer, go up right next to her and ask her the question. And then when she answers it, you can point out that, you know, she hadn't heard you the first two times and she'll realize that she has a problem. So he walks in and he says, honey, what's for dinner? And she doesn't answer. So he goes up about 10 paces and says, honey, what's for dinner? And she still doesn't answer. He gets up right next to her and says, honey, what's for dinner? And she turns around and she says, Earl, I told you meatloaf 3 times now. So maybe it was Earl that had the problem. And you know, memory is another thing that is a little bit of an issue for us older folks. There's a couple sitting there and they're watching TV and Earl says to Mildred, he says, you know, how would you like a sundae? Yeah, ice cream sundae. I'll go make it. And Mildred says, oh, Earl, I would love that. She says, but you know, one thing, I want the whipped cream and I want some chopped walnuts on top of the whipped cream. Do not forget the chopped walnuts because you're always forgetting things. He said, I won't forget. Well, he comes back and he has 2 plates full of breakfast, fried eggs and bacon and toast. And Mildred looks, Earl, see, I told you you're losing your memory. I told you to butter that toast. So in that case, they were both having a little bit of a problem. Now, speaking of memory, these 2 old guys, right after having supper at one of their houses, they're sitting out on the porch having an after dinner drink and smoking a cigar, and the wives are back in doing kitchen duty. Now I told you these are old folks because, you know, these days I'm not sure that the men wouldn't be doing the dishes and the women are sitting out smoking the cigars. But anyway, that's the way it was in this family. And the one fella says, the other fella, he says, you know, last night the wife and I went to that new restaurant that just opened up. And it was darn good, darn good. He said, I'd recommend that place. And so the first fella says, well, he said, what was the name of it? He said, geez, I got some trouble with my memory. He said, let me think. What's that red flower? He said, a carnation? No, the one that's got the stickers and everything. He said, a rose. He said, that's it. He says, hey, Rose, what was the name of that restaurant we went to last night? So, in his case, he couldn't even remember his wife's name. I remember seeing a guy back in one of these assisted living centers. He was there with his wife, and he kept calling her. He says, oh, darling, oh, sweetheart, oh, light of my life. And I mentioned to him, I said, you know, it's so nice of you to be calling your wife with all those pet names. He says, well, he says, you know, the truth of the matter is I can't even remember her name, but I'm too damn scared to ask her. So this older couple, a man and a woman, are rocking out on the front porch. You know how old people just rock and they watch traffic and the old man is allowed to say, you kids get off my lawn, and that kind of stuff. Well, they're just rocking like that. And the old lady reaches over and she slaps the old man. And he said, what the heck was that for? You've never hit me. That's for 54 years worth of bad sex. And he looks at her and he starts rocking. And he starts rocking faster and faster and faster. And he walks over and slaps her. Now, Earl, why did you do that? you have never abused me in all of our years of marriage. He said, you accused me of 54 years worth of bad sex? She says, well, that's right. He said, well, that slap was for knowing the difference. So I guess he got even on it. Speaking of old folks and having sex, there is this couple, again, Mildred and Earl. They went out to a farm, and they were visiting this farm, and that farmer was real proud of this prize bull he had. He says, you know, this prize bull, he is stout. He is great. He said, this prize bull here services 100 cows. And Mildred elbows Earl, says, hear that? Hear that, Earl? Takes care of 100 cows. Earl looks at her and says, yeah, but did you notice? He didn't say anything about servicing the same old cow all the time. So I guess they both got their shots in. I guess they did. Anyway, that's some stories about seniors. Thank you for watching Ralph's Sort of True Stories. You come back soon. We're going to have some more stories about these golden age folks, including myself. And thank you for watching Ralph's Sort of True Stories. Thank you. You come back, and in the meantime, down there at the bottom, hit that button that has the thumbs up, has a little subscribe, and on the right of that, hit that little button, that bell, and we'll let you know when we're loading any new videos. Thank you again for watching.